This is U.S. Immigration Attorney Sharifa Tharpe. I'm here live to take your questions. Go ahead and put your questions in the comments. But I also have a great topic for you today. So, if any of you are here, your parents, I want to talk about how you may qualify for VAWA. You've heard me talk about VAWA all the time. Now, VAWA is usually talked about within the context of the spousal relationship. If there's a US citizen or permanent resident spouse who is mistreating their immigrant spouse, then the immigrant spouse can qualify for immigration relief. But what a lot of people don't know is that VAWA is also for parents and children. But we'll talk about parents today because that's the group that I think is most underrepresented here. And there are a lot of factors that may cause parents to hesitate to apply for VAWA. And so I want to talk to you about your concerns because I know as a mom myself, I do know that our number one priority is to protect our kids. No matter how badly they may behave, no matter how bratty they are, we still want to protect our children. And so when you think about applying for VAWA, it tends to, you have hesitation because of the concerns. So I want to talk to you about those concerns that you have. But first, let's talk about the parents who qualify for VAWA. So if you have a US citizen, son or daughter who's age 21 or older, and they have mistreated you, then you can qualify for VAWA. Now, if say they mistreated you even before they turned 21, now they're 21, keep in mind that you can still qualify for this relief. When I talk about this, the next question I get from the parent is, well, is my child going to get into trouble for this? And my answer to that question is absolutely not. This is relief for you. Immigration isn't going to call and chastise or investigate your son or daughter. They're not. They cannot. It's a part of the law. Immigration cannot even call anybody. They can't call the person who's mistreating you. They can't call third parties. The only people that they are allowed to contact is me and you as the applicant or the petitioner in this case. So it's confidential. Your child will not know that you applied for this, and they're not going to get in trouble. This is not going to be reported to law enforcement. And keep in mind that mistreatment is broadly defined, right? Under the words that are used within the policy manual of the USCIS is you've experienced battery or extreme cruelty. And when we talk about extreme cruelty, that does cover emotional, verbal, um, types of mistreatment as well, and other types. It is so broad. For example, you'll see that I already released a video with the wheel of power and control that shows how abuse can fall under different categories. That doesn't necessarily involve physical violence. And it's the same with being a parent. Your child doesn't have to be physically violent towards you for you to qualify for this. There are other ways that you may have been mistreated. For example, if you have a child who they ended up, and I know this subject matter can be very painful and triggering, but if they ended up, having addiction problems, and as a result of the addiction problems, they mistreated you, or they had mental health problems, and as a result of the mental health problems, they mistreated you and subjected you to extreme cruelty, that can also count to qualify you for VAWA here. So keep that in mind. Nobody's getting into trouble here. Your kids are not getting into trouble. Immigration will not contact them. It's completely confidential. You don't need your son or daughter to sign off on any paperwork or corroborate any kind of information in your application. It's all dependent on the evidence that we provide to immigration. And let's talk about that now, right? So, in most cases, many cases, when I deal with the parent who is applying for VAWA, after their concerns are, I address their concerns about, well, will their child be compromised in any way in this process? And I calm those fears for them. The next thing is, well, I don't have any proof. I never called the police. They never physically assaulted me. So I don't have anything to show that this happened. Now, keep in mind again that I always say, once you've experienced it, that's enough. Go ahead and give us a call. Let's talk. Because what immigration does is they accept your statement. This is called a declaration. And as long as you provide a sufficiently detailed statement about what you endured, then you would be able to qualify based on that evidence, because the immigration officer evaluates the credibility of all the documentation that was submitted, including your statement, which is called a declaration. It's like testimony in court, but in paper, on paper. And they are going to evaluate that, and they're going to determine whether, based on all the information you've provided, whether it is true, or whether they think it's credible, it's believable, right? You don't have to show without a doubt that this happened to you. You don't have to show police reports or pictures of physical violence or medical reports showing injuries. You don't have to show that, but you do have to make sure you document this in a declaration, which we work with our clients step by step to help them to put their memory onto paper and be able to present the relevant details to immigration so that they can understand that you qualify for this. I can't tell you how much peace this process brings to my clients. At first, my clients tend to be on edge, fearful. It's an uncertain time for them. It's scary. And nobody wants to be in that situation. If they could have a happily ever after where they're applying, their child is applying for them, petitioning for them, or their spouse is petitioning for them, I'm pretty sure they would go for that, right? But many people don't have that option. And they go through a lot of turmoil and struggles without the support of the relative that could help them. But this is what brings our clients peace. This process here, I can't, there's not one client that has gone through, who we've gone through this journey with, who does not come out on top, who does not come out happy, and they get that peace. They achieve that peace, not even at the point where they get the green card. They achieve that peace as soon as they realize that they're now in a protected situation and they don't have to worry anymore. And it's thriving starts then. They start to thrive from that point forward. So if you're a parent and you're going through this, I know I've spoken to spouses before. So if you are here, you are in the same situation, but with your spouse, don't hesitate to call. We cover all of our cases. But today, especially parents, since we don't often talk to parents and talk to you about this situation you may be in where you may feel like your back is against the wall, know that there is hope. Know that you can go through this process, and this process will bring peace. It will bring serenity to your life. It will be the solution here. So give us a call. That's what we do, and we're really good at it. Me and my team are really good at it. So it will be our pleasure to assist you. Now that I've talked about that subject, let us. Oh, and one more thing, parents, you hear me? If you're here, if you're new here, maybe you can do this information. But I know many of you hear me talking about it. But you know what also brings peace to my clients is the fact that the benefits that they get, right? They get they get protection. So say you're being threatened with deportation by your son or daughter. Then guess what? The minute you file this VAWA application, immigration has to think twice about whether they can take this information. If that person ever tries to call them, they're not allowed to take that information and use it to deny the case unless that it is absolutely corroborated. They provide corroborated evidence, which in most cases where the relative, the US citizen or the permanent resident is calling immigration, they're not going off of anything but lies. So they're not allowed to take that information to deny any kind of application that you have pending under VAWA. So that's one, protection from deportation, protection from sabotage of that relative, the son or daughter, the spouse, or the parent if you're the son or daughter of a US citizen or resident parent. The other is that a couple months after we file your petition, you will get your work permit. You'll get your work permit. You'll get your travel document because we make sure our clients have that travel document. You'll get your social security number as soon as your work permit is approved. This also is very exciting. It's an exciting time for my clients because to them it's something, a benefit that they can hold in their hands that can validate their presence in the United States. It helps my clients to feel as if they're finally being seen, right? They're significant as human beings, but to have that is so reassuring. To have that, the card, in their hands that gives them the ability to work, gives them the ability to move freely, gives them the ability to travel. So, that is also exciting. And that work permit right now, hopefully that does not change. But right now, we're seeing 5-year work permits, 5 whole years. Not even the VAWA process, not even this process I'm describing lasts for 5 years. So they're making sure that you have this work permit that's long enough to keep you working, keep you thriving, keep you going until they can approve your green card. So at that point, that usually happens around 6 to 12 months after we apply. So very important that you get on it. The faster you get on it is the sooner that you can get this. We can get this for you. And then the next is that you get your VAWA approval, which gives you official protection. You're not only an applicant now, but you're officially protected from deportation. And that is there until you get your green card, which right now, so exciting. We're just getting the green cards in the mail for our VAWA clients. So, and it's a journey, but it's a very satisfying journey. And to see my clients at the end of this journey, the VAWA journey, get their 10-year green card, it's like it opens up a whole new world of possibilities for them. The next step is citizenship, US citizenship. So, which is that's the ultimate ending of an immigration journey. What's naturalization? So it's citizenship. Somebody just asked, what's naturalization? So it's citizenship. After you get your green card, a couple of years after, you get your citizenship through naturalization. So, go ahead, give us a call, get started now. It's a good process. It is very useful and it really is a path to freedom. So those are the benefits. So invaluable. Such a priceless pathway when you feel like you have no other options. You can be out of status, by the way, even if you cross the border without permission, you can qualify for this as well. All right. So I'm going to answer some questions. So go ahead, put those questions in the comments so I can answer your questions. Let's see. Can a J1 teacher benefit from WIC? So, uh, so when it comes to public benefits, you have to be very careful. If you have a U.S. citizen child or you're pregnant, um, then there may be exceptions to taking public benefits, and it may not affect you. I know the public charge rule, they've loosened up the regular, Trump had created a really restrictive type of rule that held almost everything against you, even down to your credit score, held it against you. But when Biden came in, he did announce that they were not going to hold, taking out public benefits like food stamps, which WIC is similar to that. WIC is usually provided to pregnant women or mothers, new mothers. And so I would think that falls under a public benefit, but that alone would not necessarily hold you as a public charge, especially if you're pregnant here. Usually being pregnant is an exception. However, it's very important to make sure you get individual legal advice just because you're on J1, which can add an element of complications there. Um, How long does USCIS take to respond to NOID and make a decision? I would say about 2 months is when we see. So I'd say 2 to 4 months. Just depends on what they're asking for, the complexity of the situation. What if your green card produced with no tracking number? Right. So get in touch with them and find out where it was sent in that case. Um, How long is it taking applying for parents of US citizens to be approved for I-130? Could be anywhere from 9 to 12 months for the I-130 to be approved. Keep in mind that if your parents are here in the US, you should also be filing an adjustment of status application. And that enables them to be able to get their work permit, get their travel document, get their social security number while they wait for the process to be approved. So when you're here in the US, and as long as you qualify, for example, parents of US citizens qualify as immediate relatives of US citizens, as long as the US citizen is age 21 or older. And in that case, you should be filing an adjustment of status application with the work permit application, with the travel document application, with the affidavit of support, with the medical all together to make sure that you have a faster process and to make sure that your parents get the benefits they deserve. If your parents are outside of the United States, then you're going to file the I-130, wait for it to be approved, then it's going to be sent to the National Visa Center for further processing in order to lead to the interview at the embassy. My problem right now is getting enough cash to apply for VAWA. So yes, now keep in mind filing fees are zero, right? They just changed this on April 1st. So for my clients, it really does make a world of a difference. Know that it's zero. Zero for adjustment of status, zero for work permit application, zero for travel documents. So zero for a waiver if you need forgiveness for any kind of violations like criminal offenses, $0. So keep that in mind that the fees they're no longer filing fees. So that's one of the good things. They increase some fees, they decrease some fees. So thank goodness I have cameras and over 200 recordings of his plot. Okay, so this must be related to VAWA. And in some cases, it's really good when you do have recordings. You do have to take screenshots of the recordings to have it as photos. But if you don't worry about it. You can still make a strong case without pictures and videos and so forth. I'm a U.S. citizen. I've applied for both parents, dad and mom. How long does it take to get approved by USCIS? So I'd say under a year if they're here in the US. Uh, Hi, when you pass NVC stage, how long will it take for an F2A case? So if you've passed the NVC stage, that means you're documentarily qualified, then you're looking at about a year and a half for the interview. Hopefully they reduce that timeline, but so far I'm seeing consistently about a year and a half for the interview. Yes, I'm so sorry you're going through the turmoil, and absolutely, you do need it. If you need assistance, definitely give us a call. Let's talk. My status has been case received, and we sent recipient notice. When will it change to actively reviewed? So it just depends on their workload. I have a PhD in science. How can I get a green card? So there is what's called a national interest waiver. And if you are able to show three main, so just by having the PhD, and as long as the PhD is equivalent to a US PhD, then that means you qualify as someone who has an advanced degree. The next thing they're going to look at is if you meet three criteria. You have to show that you are going to achieve an important goal for the United States. So it's a substantial goal of national importance. Then you have to show that you have the means to achieve it. And the way you're going to do that is by showing that you have the experience. You've applied yourself in your area of science, whether it's through research, publications, through significant work and at work achievements. That is awards that you've won. That's how you're going to show that you have the means to achieve that goal, that important goal of national importance. Doesn't mean you have to be famous, doesn't mean you have to necessarily invent anything, but what on our end, what we do is we show through experts why the area you're working in is going to be of national importance, right? It may be meeting a substantial shortage in that industry that the United States needs to progress. And I know science STEM is a big field for the national interest waiver. At that point, once you've shown that, you also have to show why it's more beneficial to the United States to allow you to just get the green card and not have to go to an employer to get the green card, which once again, it's about through expert opinions and reports showing why it's urgent, the urgency of the situation for you to get it now versus waiting for an employer to petition for you. So that's, in a nutshell, is the national interest waiver based on an advanced degree like a master's or a PhD that you might have. All right. Now, another thing to note is if you're here in the US and you have an advanced degree, you're out of status though, it may not be possible for you to qualify because you have to qualify, you have to maintain your status in regards to getting the green card through the national interest waiver. You have to maintain your status while being here. You can file the petition, get approved for the petition, but it's not going to matter when it's time to apply for the green card through adjustment of status. Do you think VAWA is better than just remarrying? Yes, don't go remarry. Why? If you're going through VAWA, that means that you've already experienced the pains of depending on someone to get your green card and them failing you. Why would you give up the opportunity to control your own process and finish out your process on your own why would you rather that than starting all over again with someone that they could they could mess it up for you all over again. Do not remarry while you're applying for VAWA. All right. Hi there. Hi, Pansita. So nice to see you. Hi there. Good afternoon. Oh, thanks so much. Thanks so much for all your well wishes. Uh, does advance parole come with combo card and VAWA? Keep in mind you have to apply for it, but in most cases, yes. Sometimes they'll release the work permit before the travel document, but in most cases, we're getting a combo card. Hello, I have a receipt for VAWA from July 2022. How long I have to wait more? About another year. Not getting paid for months. Does it qualify for T? My employer withheld my paycheck for months saying don't have money. I was hired as H-1B. Absolutely. No, I can't I'm not your attorney. I can't confirm qualification, but what I can say is that's a very big red flag. You are entitled to your payment. Doesn't matter that you're working as H-1B. Does not matter, because you have a lot of people that are sponsoring immigrants on these work programs, and they're still end up trafficking them through means like this. They're not paying you, but yet they expect you to still do the labor, right? So, and then because you're not being paid, you feel like, first of all, your H-1B depends on this employer. If you leave, you lose status. That alone is keeping you doing free work, which is involuntary servitude, because you never signed up to do free labor, right? But yet they know, this employer knows that you're on the H-1B, and that H-1B staying current depends on them. And so they are taking complete advantage of their leverage over you, the fact that they can hold on to your H-1B. So give us a call. We can help. This is definitely something we can help with. So, but we need to talk to you more about the facts here. But that is usually the first red flag for T status. If you're not being paid, if they are not paying you, they're not paying you on time, they're not paying you what's promised, first red flag that you can qualify for the T status here. Had fingerprints for you, then applied for VAWA and I-485. Now got the message case updated to show fingerprints were taken. What do you think? What's next? So prima facie could be next, your prima facie letter, and then your work permit if you applied for it. It's not about VAWA. I want to know, as an asylum seeker, can I get married? Definitely speak with us in a consultation. There have been cases where I've gotten these questions, and usually, generally, if you end up finding someone that you want to build your life with and end up getting married to them, you can, but I've found certain situations do conflict with the asylum application, and there has to be a special way to approach this. So this is where it's very important to get legal advice. I've gotten emails twice that action have taken place on my marriage-based green card, but nothing changes. Is that normal? Yes, sometimes that happens. And I know it can be nerve-wracking and frustrating. But yes, it could be they've even just changed some name on the record or something like that, changed some information on your record, and it pops up as action taken. Can someone with advanced parole work authorization based on pending VAWA application apply for week TWIC card with TSA? So I'm not sure what the TWIC card is. So yeah, this is where we definitely have to look further into that. Do you assist people to relocate to USA? I'm in Ireland at the moment, but I'm from Africa originally. We do have to do the consultation to determine whether you qualify for a way to relocate, because you do have to qualify in one of the ways. For T visa, I have received a notification that my case was filed. I have two derivatives, and one is a DACA. Usually, if it's approved, we all get approved together. How long for biometrics? So about 2 months for the biometrics, and yes, you have two derivatives. You are, as long as the derivatives are under 21 or they're your spouse, they're going to qualify to be approved. Now, there are situations where if your derivative is outside of the United States, they too have to go through background checks, and they will send the instructions for those background checks, and that may delay their approval, but ultimately they will be approved once those background checks are done in the country as well. Good afternoon. My name is James. How long for I-485 approved for green card? Please, it depends on what kind. Who are you applying through on that I-485 to get the green card? All right. Hello, Instagram. Can you take on a VAWA case from New York? Absolutely. We have all our clients are all over the country. So first, we'd need to talk to you about whether you qualify for a work permit in the United States. Since you already have the J1, it means that you were admitted to the United States to work under that J1 visa. So it doesn't allow you to get a general work permit. And having a J1 visa doesn't necessarily mean that you can just get a work permit. We'd have to talk to you about your circumstances to determine whether you can qualify for the work permit in any other way. What does it mean when a VAWA case has been transferred to a center with jurisdiction over your case? So if it's been no, if it, I know that they're doing a lot of transfers back and forth between Vermont and Nebraska. But if you've gotten a word that has been sent to a local USCIS office, which is usually not until until it's approved and they're ready to process you for the green card. But if it's sent to a local USCIS office, it means that they're going to now adjudicate the green card stage of your case and either ask you for the medical if you haven't provided it, or ask you for any missing information. And then what we've been seeing is they issue the green card. How does condition remover take for VAWA? How long does it take? I'd say 2 to 4 years. That's why they're giving the 4-year extension for that. I overstayed my time in Tennessee. I have a 12-year-old daughter back in JA. Can she get a visa? Her father died 5 years ago. Your relative can always apply for the visa. There are no guarantees, but they can apply for the visa, and if they can independently show that they can qualify for the visa, they may grant it. But they could also look at the background and realize that you are overstayed, and that might hinder them getting the visa. You have to be married to apply for VAWA? No. So we just talked about this. You can be a parent. No, if you're in a relationship and that person that you're in the relationship with is abusive, unless that state you qualify as a common law marriage in your state, you will not qualify for VAWA. But there are situations where we've gotten the T status for these kinds of situations where the intimate partner forces our client to do things against their will, like to perform certain acts or force them to do chores or work for their business at the same time, and that they didn't willingly do. That can result in T status. Can anyone other than parent go with her to the embassy? Yes, you just have to show that you've authorized the child to go to the embassy. You've authorized the person to go to the embassy with them. Okay, I'm not in a parent situation, just a spouse. So the VAWA still applies here if your US citizen resident spouse is mistreating you. Yeah, sounds great, but does this have the same benefits as a spouse? And how long after receiving green card through VAWA can you become a citizen? So, yes, has the same benefits as a spouse as you're going through the process. When it comes to citizenship, you'd have to wait 5 years to get citizenship. As a spouse of a citizen, you can get it in 3 years, but everybody else has to wait the 5 years. What's the process of getting a work permit? It just depends on what you qualify for. What happened if you had a work permit but I-360 not approved, but they stated that you are eligible for automatic renewal? So I'm not sure what happened here. Usually, if it doesn't sound like there's a denial because you're saying it sounds like you're saying it's just not approved yet. There's no automatic renewal until you apply to renew your work permit. So you have to apply to renew your work permit. When you get the receipt notice, that serves as an extension of your work permit for 540 days. What if the immigrant comes through the Biden program and is being mistreated by family that has sponsored them? Is it possible for them to get VAWA? Yes, absolutely. VAWA or the T status. But we need to find out all the facts here to determine which one you're going to fall under. But I'm so sorry if they're mistreating you, but that is a possibility. We need to talk to you. Go now, if you want to make sure that you understand your options, very important you do that now. Great things are happening in immigration. I know there are some downsides, but there are some also exciting things coming and that are happening. So you want to make sure that you get in on these opportunities now. What you can do is give us a call and schedule your appointment, or schedule your appointment on your own. You can do that right now. So right now, Attorney Bria and I, we're both experienced immigration attorneys, and we are evaluating each case. If you're out of status, if you overstayed, if you're in status, we go ahead and figure out ways that you can stay here in the US and still get your papers. Go to the link in the profile, schedule your own appointment with either Attorney Bria or I, or go ahead and give us a call, and the staff will be more than happy to assist you. So my husband closed our joint account and didn't let me know about this. What should you do? Get in touch with us, because that's telling me that your spouse does not have your best interest at heart, and there's some mistreatment that may be going on, and I want to hear more. We have to talk in a consultation, but you may qualify for VAWA if your spouse is a U.S. citizen or a permanent resident. It's one of the greatest pathways to freedom. It just takes time and patience to be qualified. Yes. So our VAWA process is a journey, but keep in mind that the benefits start before the end of the journey. And that's what brings my clients peace within the first couple months of applying. That's when they get the reassurance and the benefit. So it is definitely a path to freedom from early on. What is the process of getting a work permit? So it is so many ways, but it depends on your circumstances. So is it true then that if you're on government aids, can you file for parent-child? So, yes. So, if you're a US citizen and you're taking government benefits, that's fine. As long as if you're sponsoring a relative, you can show that you meet the sufficient income, or you have a co-sponsor that can do this for you. So, government benefits does not necessarily mean that you can't petition for a child or a parent. If your adjustment of status was approved, can you apply for Social Security card until you get the interview? If your adjustment of status was approved, that means you are going to get the green card in the mail. That's the end of your green card journey. You're going to get the green card, and you're probably going to get the Social Security card in the mail. If you don't get your Social Security card in the mail, you can just go down to the office and get it. But if your adjustment of status was approved, there's usually no interview after that. That's the end of the road for the green card journey. How long do you have to be in the country before you can file for adjustment of status on B1, B2? Usually there's a rule, a 90-day rule. Now, if you're coming in on a B1, B2 visa with no other qualifications for a green card, like through family, like through an employer, like through humanitarian means, then you don't qualify for adjustment of status. But if you are qualifying through a spouse, through family, through an employer, and you're ready to file for adjustment of status, then it's preferable to make sure that you're not filing within 90 days of your entry, because they can assume that you meant to use your visa to come into the US to apply for permanent residence. And remember, when you come in with a visitor's visa, you are automatically representing that you don't want to stay permanently. So you have to be careful with that one. What does it mean when notice received states that your case has been transferred? Okay, so it doesn't really mean much. I just explained that earlier. It could mean they're just trying to distribute workload. Or if you've gotten to the point where now they're ready to process your green card and it's been sent to the local field office, then they're ready to start processing that green card stage, and they may ask you for more information or send the green card in the mail. Can you give some light on the situation? What do you think will happen to those that file VAWA and the lawyer is now charged for fraud? That can be a very, very bad situation. Um, for example, that can indicate they're going to look at the lawyer's work to see if the lawyer perpetrated fraud in all of their cases. Did the lawyer set this up? So it is a very alarming situation. Absolutely. Happy 20K. Yes, so I want to thank everyone here for your support. We've reached 20,000 followers on Instagram, and I couldn't have done it without you. So thanks so much. And I believe we've reached 20,000 on TikTok, and we have reached, I believe, 7,600 on YouTube. And Facebook, we're over 3,000. So thanks so much for all of your support, and for logging in to share get the information that I love to share. Thank you, Moha. Let's see. Thanks so much, Dream Queen of Hearts. I appreciate that. Yes, it's worth it to schedule that appointment. It is worth it because we go into detail. How do I book that consultation? Go to the link in the profile. Schedule. When you click on the link, you'll see buttons. One of them is to confirm your own appointment. There's Attorney Bria and I. So there's only so many hours in the day. And right now we're hitting record numbers for the law firm, and we still want to give everybody the personalized attention that you deserve. And so how we're doing this is we're making sure that we can multiply the number of consultations that we do to make sure that we can not only that I am not limited by who I can help. So go and schedule your appointment with me. with Attorney Bria, because we're here to help and we want to help as many immigrants as we can, especially now we're coming down to a busy time where a lot is going on and we all want to make sure. My son born in the UK, he's 12 years old. How should he file for a green card? So just being born in the UK alone is not going to qualify you for your green card here. If the adjustment of status was approved, can I get a social security card until I get my interview? If it's approved, now we did have one client where the card did not come through, it took months for the card to come. They went ahead and got an I-551 stamp, and that enabled them to get that. Basically is like a temporary green card until they get the permanent card. So if you don't see it coming in, make sure you contact them, figure out what's going on with the card, and then get the I-551 stamp. I live in NYC. My spouse lives in Georgia. Where is the best for you to file, NYC or Georgia? Which will move faster? So, you know, usually when you file, you're not filing in NYC or Georgia. You're filing at one service center, and then eventually, if they are going to schedule an interview, it goes to the service center. So at this point, I wouldn't say it matters much. Okay, can you speak more on service centers? So I think that's related to the same type of question. So, the service centers around the country are supposed to adhere to the same policies. So it's really hard to, talk about service centers. Sometimes it comes down to the officer. Some Sometimes it comes down to the officer. It comes down to the culture. So it's really difficult to break this down into a live. Usually, when we are going to an interview with our client, we get familiar with their protocol, their requirements, the tone of the office, what they're saying to us about our client's case, and then we go and prepare it that way. But they're all supposed to adhere to the same policies across the board. When I apply for T status, can my two sons come and live with me? After they're approved. Then they can come and join you. All right, I have to head out. Oh, thanks so much, Candy. Yes, it's my favorite sweater. Thanks, Dream Queen of Hearts. Thanks so much for your encouragement and support. If I did not get to answer your questions, please save your questions for tomorrow so I can answer. How long does the fiancé visa take? About a year and a half. If 10 years is given for the green card initially, do you still need to remove conditions? Nope, absolutely not. You don't. That's a good part about sometimes when marriage cases take, it takes as the approval comes after their 2-year anniversary. That's the upside, is they get the 10-year. They don't have to go through that process again. So Shay, your consultation date is so far, but we have another attorney that please go ahead and schedule. Attorney Bria works closely with me and will be able to help you. My husband go on close. Okay. All right. You see, I just love answering questions, and these questions are really good. My wife failed to submit documents, and my adjustment of status was denied. Can I apply for VAWA and adjustment of status at the same time? Now, give us a call. Yes, that's absolutely possible. So give us a call. Let's talk about what happened and then get started ASAP. Now, the adjustment of status was denied, so it means that you have to go ahead and apply for VAWA and adjustment of status again. The good part about this is that there's no filing fees anymore for the VAWA and the adjustment of status application. So you don't have to worry about the additional cost of repeating the application again. Have a great one. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.